from the VA. These 5 inclusive habits are things that you can do and steps you can take to come across as being more inclusive to your students, to your colleagues, and everyone else. The first one is you have to be fair. You have to be fair. And simply what I mean by that is you can't play favorites. Does everybody understand? If you've ever worked for a boss or in an organization where there was a lot of playing favorites going on, like the boss had their own little clique over here, right? Team performance goes way down. The perception of, if I'm getting too hot, just let me know. Some of y'all ducking around, looking around, scratching around like you got somewhere to go. I'm almost done. Just stay here for a minute. When you're perceived as not being fair, then there's nothing else you can talk to those folks around you that can change. You have to be perceived as being fair to everyone, not just your friends. Agreed? Okay, some of y'all didn't agree. All right. We'll work with that. The next one is open, being open-minded. The idea here is, listen, you wouldn't be here if you hadn't been successful. I get that. I'm just saying, you didn't get here by driving a Model T, did you? Right? No, if we just stayed in the same place with technology around cars, we'd all still be probably riding horseback. But we don't. So why is it so hard to understand that as we move on as a group, new research comes out that shows us that we can do better. You don't have to fight it, right? We can get in healthy dialogue around what's the best way to go. But just because you've been successful doing it one way doesn't mean you can't be more successful doing it another way. That's what we mean by being open and open-minded. It's actually a dimension with regard of personality on the 5-factor model of personality, right? The next one is cooperation. And here's what we found in our research. That people will feel included if they're feeling like you're willing to help or willing to be helpful. And you communicate in a positive way. Okay, coaches, I know that's getting uncomfortable for some of the coaches in here. I understand. Most of the time, coaches, most of the time, right? But communicating in a positive way makes all the... Have you ever worked for somebody who was always negative? Oh, my God. Aren't they just like vampires to you? They just suck the blood, right? You come in happy, by the time you've been around them 5 minutes, your shoulders are slumping. If you're like me, my hair starts to straighten out. You just, come on, man. Right? Next one is supportive. So this is kind of interesting when I ask this question about supportive, right? So people feel they're included when they feel like they're being supported by you. So, and I think everybody's heard of the Gallup organization. They did some research around being able to predict levels of employee engagement. One of the things they found was that when the members of those organizations had a close friend at work, their engagement levels went up and their team performance. How many of you in here have a friend that you can confide personal information to? A close friend? Show of hands. Okay, sir, so that's half the problem here. We got a whole bunch of, hey, you guys, can y'all have more than one friend? Because there's some folks back here that have no friends. They just show up. They ain't got nobody to talk to. Let's do it this way. How many, show of hands who don't have any friends? Okay. Terry, stand up. Terry's always willing to be somebody's friend. So if you need a friend, Terry Albritton, number 29664.